Hello students, welcome to online classes. This is Swati Madam, your biology teacher from Silver Oak School. In the previous session, we have discussed about certain activities which proves that air plays an important role in the process of photosynthesis. Especially, we have discussed about an activity which proves that carbon dioxide is the main raw material for the process of photosynthesis. Later, we discussed about Ingenhousz experiment and then Engelmann experiment. Today, we are going to discuss about an important activity, the most important activity which proves that oxygen is produced during the process of photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. What is the product produced here? Which gas is produced here? Oxygen is produced during the process of photosynthesis, and this is proved with an experiment did with an aquatic plant known as Hydrilla plant. Let us see the experiment now.
This activity is to show the production of oxygen during photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. The materials required for this activity are beaker with pond water, Hydrilla plant, stemmed funnel, test tube. Consider the apparatus shown in the image. Take a beaker and fill it with pond water. Place water plant like Hydrilla or Elodie inside the beaker and cover it by a short-stemmed funnel. Take a test tube and invert it over the stem of the funnel. Ensure that the level of water in the beaker must be above the level of the end of inverted funnel. Place the entire assembly of apparatus in the sunlight for at least 3 days. It is observed that in place of water, air is filled in it. This air is actually a gas and is collected in the test tube. Test the gas collected in the test tube by inserting a glowing incense stick, which would burst into flames. This indicates the presence of oxygen. The air bubbles formed in the test tube is of oxygen gas. Thus, it is clear from this activity that oxygen is produced during the process of photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight.
Now, let us discuss about the lab activity. Here the aim of the experiment is oxygen is produced during photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. The apparatus required here is test tube, beaker, water, funnel, Hydrilla plant. I am repeating, test tube, beaker, water, funnel, Hydrilla plant. Coming to the procedure, arrange the apparatus as shown in the figure. Make two identical sets. So, did you understood? You have to make two identical sets. How we are arranged? You have seen in the picture. Same like that you have to arrange. Place some water plant like Elodie or Hydrilla. Here the important bit you can note down. That is, here you can find the Elodie and Hydrilla plant. If they give some examples for aquatic plants, you can mention them Hydrilla or Elodie plant. Place some water plant like Hydrilla or Elodie in a short stemmed funnel and keep it in a beaker containing water. Invert a test tube full of water over the stem of the funnel. Ensure that the level of water in the beaker is above the level of the stem of the inverted funnel. It is clear that ensure that the level of water in the beaker, should be above the level of the stem of the funnel. So it is very clear that it should be above the level of the stem of the inverted funnel. Place one apparatus in the sun. As we have did two apparatus setups, one should be kept in the sun and the other in the dark for at least 2 to 3 hours. You would see that in place of water there is air that fills in the setup kept in the sun. It is actually a gas that will collect in the test tube. It is very clear that bubbles were formed and it is oxygen bubbles. Observe the other setup kept in the dark. Is there any difference in the amount of gas collected? Now, what we have to do, we have to test the gas in the test tube by inserting a glowing matchstick or incense stick. You have to slowly remove the test tube from the beaker, and we should test with glowing matchstick. If it bursts into flames, it is very clear if it is oxygen. If the gas is oxygen, then flames will come out. It will burst into flames. This shows the presence of oxygen.
Hope you understood the hydrilla experiment, which we did to prove that oxygen is produced during the process of photosynthesis. Here, what are the precautions needed to be taken while removing the test tube from the beaker? I am repeating the question. What are the precautions need to be taken while removing the test tube from the beaker? How can we remove the test tube without letting the gas out? While removing the test tube from the beaker, you have to lift the test tube and close it with the thumb like this. You have to lift the test tube and close it with the thumb so that the gas which is present inside will not let it out. So that the gas which is present inside the test tube will not go out. So we can test this gas for further observation. So it is very important to lift the test tube slowly from the beaker so that the gas will not let out, and this gas can be tested for further observation. Let us discuss what are the experiments till now we have discussed. So what are the raw materials important for the process of photosynthesis? As you know clearly, first one, carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide has been proved with an experiment known as Mohl's half-leaf experiment. In the previous session we have discussed about the Mohl's half-leaf experiment did with that KOH solution. The second one, water. As we discussed earlier, in your earlier classes itself you have learnt about von Helmont water experiment. The third one, the main energy source for the process of photosynthesis. What is the main energy source for the process of photosynthesis? Students, think. The energy source is sunlight. So here we have to prove that sunlight is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. And this experiment we are going to do now, and this is also known as black paper experiment. Let us see that experiment now.
To demonstrate that light is necessary for photosynthesis. Requirements: potted plant, petri dish, boiling tube, alcohol 70%, iodine solution, Bunsen burner, forceps, beaker, water, dropper, black paper. Procedure: take a healthy potted plant and place it in dark for about 72 hours so that the leaves become free from starch. After 72 hours, select a leaf on the plant and cover a portion of it on both sides with black paper. Keep the potted plant with the covered leaf in sunlight for a few hours. After a few hours, detach the covered leaf from the plant and remove the black papers. Boil the leaf in water for a few minutes. Now boil the leaf in alcohol in a water bath till it becomes dull white due to the removal of chlorophyll. Wash the leaf with water and add iodine solution. Observation: the portion of leaf which was covered does not change color, whereas the portion which was uncovered turns blue-black. Inference and conclusion: The portion of leaf which was not covered received all the factors necessary for photosynthesis. Therefore, that part could only photosynthesize, whereas the one which was covered could not manufacture food. The presence of starch gave the positive test with iodine, that is, turned to blue-black color. Photosynthesis is the process of manufacturing of food by the green parts of the plant, especially the leaves, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, with the help of carbon dioxide and water.
Now let us discuss about an activity. Sunlight is necessary to form starch in green plants. This is also known as black paper experiment. What is the aim of this activity? Sunlight is necessary to form starch in green plants. Now coming to the procedure. Take a potted plant with de-starched leaves. You have to take a potted plant with de-starched leaves. Remember the process of de-starching mentioned in the activity 1 means we have clearly discussed about the de-starching of the leaves. What we have to do, we have to keep in dark for few days so that the starch preparation will stop in the plant. Cover one of its leaf with black paper on which a design is cut. So, after taking the potted plant with de-starched leaf, after keeping it in dark for few days, you have to take it out and you have to cover the leaf with black paper on which a design is cut. Fix the paper on the leaf in such a manner that light doesn't enter the dark part. As I have shown you clearly the experiment, it is very clear. You have to take a black paper on which cut design has been made and you have to fix it onto the leaf through which through the slit only the light can enter into the leaf. Place this potted plant in sunlight. After few hours of exposure to bright sunlight, test the leaf which is covered by black paper for the presence of starch. It is very clear that if starch is present, when it is tested with iodine solution, it turns into blue-black color. So now, which part of the leaf turns blue-black? So the part which is clearly exposed to sunlight, it will turn into blue-black. That means the slit, any letter shape which we did, that through the slit the light will enter into the leaf and their starch preparation will be there. So it turns into blue-black color. What about the remaining part? It doesn't show any color change when it is tested with iodine. Observe the leaf of stained with iodine. Can you tell why it stained differently? It stained differently because of the presence of starch. It will be observed that only parts of the leaf which could get light through the cutout design turns blue-black, showing the presence of starch. It is very clear that when the light enters through the cutout design, it turns into blue-black color, indicating the presence of starch. But the leaf which is covered with black paper will not show the color change because of the absence of starch.
Students, this black paper experiment is very easy and you can do at your home. Here we can prove that sunlight is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. What you have to do is you have to take a potted plant. We have to de-starch the leaf by keeping it in dark. Later you have to take out the potted plant and then take a black paper, any black paper or any colored paper. What you have to do, you have to make a cut design on that. Any letter size or any shape you can cut like this. I have shown here. And what you have to do, the black color paper with any cut design you have to take and place it over the leaf and then pin it up. Then you place the potted plant in sunlight for few hours. Later it should be tested with iodine solution to detect the presence of starch in leaves. Students, here we discussed about that sunlight is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. In this experiment, when we test with iodine solution, which part of the leaf turns into blue-black and what about the remaining part? Here it is very clear that the part of the leaf, when we use this black paper with a cut design over it, when we close this black paper onto the leaf, then the part of the leaf which is completely exposed to sunlight, when it is tested with iodine solution, then it will change into blue-black color. And what about the remaining part? It will not change. It shows somewhat brownish color when it is tested with iodine solution. It is very clear that the cut design which is made over the black paper will show blue-black color because it is completely exposed to sunlight. Is it or not? So sunlight is the major energy source during the process of photosynthesis. The cut design made over the leaf, when it is tested with iodine solution, it will change into blue-black color. But the part which is completely covered with this black paper, when it is covered like this with black paper, it will not change into blue-black color because it is completely covered with black paper. Is it clear? Now, the next topic is about chlorophyll and photosynthesis. Still now we have discussed about different raw materials like carbon dioxide, sunlight, water, carbon dioxide by Moll's half-leaf experiment, sunlight, just now we have discussed about black paper experiment, and then water, Van Helmont experiment. Now about chlorophyll and photosynthesis we have to discuss. Before discussing about the important role of chlorophyll, the green colored pigment, let us know something which was done by the Ingenhousz. As we learnt earlier that Ingenhousz is the scientist who had discovered that the sunlight is the major source for the process of photosynthesis, and he told that it is happening only in the green parts of the plant. And when he said that it is occurring only in the green parts of the plant, so many questions arised. For example, let us take the new reddish colored leaves. These new reddish leaves are changing into green color later. Then what about the animals which are green in color? It is not performing any photosynthesis. Is it or not? So what about the green colored animals which could not perform the photosynthesis? And there are certain leaves which are almost yellowish or reddish leaves. Is there any photosynthesis taking place in that plant? So like this, so many questions arised and it became challenges to the scientists until they discovered and isolated the green colored part, that is chlorophyll. After the discovery of Ingenhousz experiments, and he did so many inventions, and later in the mid 20th century, scientists could be able to isolate the location or the site for the process of photosynthesis. Around 4 decades after Ingenhousz experiments, scientists could only isolate the green colored part or the substance to observe its nature and find out whether the photosynthesis will be carried out or not. This had become possible in the year 1817. In the year 1817, two great scientists by name Pelletier and Caventou. Please note down the scientists' names: Pelletier, Pelletier and Caventou, Caventou. Pelletier and Caventou in the year 1817, due to the work of these two great scientists in the year 1817, the green colored substance, they have extracted the green colored substance known as chlorophyll, meaning green leaf. They have extracted the green colored substance known as chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll was discovered by the scientists known as Pelletier and Caventou in the year 1817. What is meant by chlorophyll? It is a green colored pigment. And where this green colored pigment is located? As we studied earlier in the 9th grade, the pigments, the green colored pigments, chlorophyll, xanthophyll, carotenoids, these are the pigments which are present inside a cell organelle known as chloroplast. Now, let us discuss about a topic of where does photosynthesis takes place. As you know very clearly, leaves are the major part where photosynthesis will take place. Can you name some other parts where photosynthesis will take place? As you learned before, assimilatory roots, the green colored succulent stems, there are certain parts other than leaves where photosynthesis will take place. Now my question is, do you think the new reddish leaves of plants also carry out photosynthesis? What could be the role of their color? As you learnt earlier in 9th grade, there are certain plastids which contains pigments. In that, chlorophyll pigment, chromoplasts containing colored pigments, leucoplasts where there is no color. So here, the reddish colored leaves will be containing the excessive amount of chromoplasts. Colored pigments will be present in that, but it traps the light energy and it in turn helpful for the chlorophyll, and it will pass it to the chlorophyll so that the other accessory pigments will be prevalent. So because of the major presence of the other accessory pigments, the leaves will be sometimes reddish color or somewhat yellowish color because of the other accessory pigments. But here also the photosynthesis will take place. Yes, the new reddish leaves of plants also carry out photosynthesis. Now, the exact location of the photosynthesis part of the plant containing chlorophyll was not known till another 6 decades after the discovery of Peletier and Caventou. Understood? It was believed to be spread in the cells of green plant parts. In 1883, Julius Van Sachs, note down children, in 1883, Julius Van Sachs, Julius Julius Van Sachs observed that chlorophyll in plant cell is not spread throughout the entire cell. It is rather found in an organelle present in the cell. Such organelles were named as chloroplasts.
If a cell is broken up, the chloroplasts also break into pieces. So it becomes a very difficult task to isolate them to study the different steps of photosynthesis. It was not until 1954 that Daniel Arnon was able to break up plant cells so gently that whole chloroplast could be obtained that could carry it through photosynthesis. This is the do you know box which is given in our textbook. It is very clear that in 1954 Daniel Arnon, the scientist by name Daniel Arnon, was able to break up the plant cell so gently so that the structure of chloroplast can be studied. And it is very important to know and study the do you know boxes also provided in our textbook which carries marks in our exams.
So in 1883, Julius Van Sachs clearly observed and told that chlorophyll pigment is present inside the cell organelle called chloroplast, and it is present within the cells around 40 to 100. We have studied clearly about the structure of chloroplast in class 9th. Let us now study about the transverse section of the leaf where the chloroplast, major amount of chloroplast is located, and let us study the detailed diagram of TS of leaf. Students, now let us learn how to draw the TS of leaf in an easy way. First, you have to draw two lines like wavy pattern as shown here. One wavy pattern line on the upper side and again on the lower side. After drawing the wavy patterns here, you have to close the lines like this. Then you have to draw a circle in the middle. Later, you have to close, you have to erase two lines. Draw outlines of central vascular bundle and air spaces like this, so that it has to be covered with a single layer of cells. It has to be covered up with a single layer of cells. Complete the wavy patterns on both sides of the diagram as shown. Note that the edges of the outer line should face the edges of the inner line exactly, and it should be connected. Connect the edges of the line to create barrel-shaped epidermal cells on both the sides. And complete the bundle sheath of cells of vascular bundle 2 like this. Draw cuticle on the epidermis on both sides, forming the counters of the epidermal cells. Like this. One more line you have to form on that, which is known as cuticle. Now draw the mesophyll cells lining the air spaces as shown. Draw palaceid tissues, epidermal cells you have to, palaceid parenchyma you have to draw like this, some irregular shaped, rectangular shape. And you have to fill up with the cross rectangular shape, providing some air spaces here in the spongy parenchyma. Some air spaces should be there in the tiers of leaf. Now you have to complete the tiers of leaf like this, and after this what you have to do, you have to place the chloroplasts. This is the palisade parenchyma part, and here more number of chloroplasts. You can mention this chloroplast with the help of dots like this. Here more number of chloroplasts will be present. It can be mentioned like this in the form of dots. Here more number of chloroplasts will be present. But in spongy parenchyma, less number of chloroplasts will be present. Is it clear? Here you have to mention the less number of chloroplasts. In spongy parenchyma, less number of, here and there you have to mention the chloroplasts, because less number of chloroplasts will be present in the spongy parenchyma, but more number of chloroplasts will be present in this palisade parenchyma. And after drawing this tiers of leaf, in this lower epidermal part, you have to mention the guard cells and then stomata like this. You have to mention the stomata and guard cells in the lower epidermis. And here this is the vascular bundle, and I have to mention here xylem and phloem cells. Generally, the xylem and phloem cells, as you studied in 9th class, xylem and phloem cells constitute the vascular bundles, and here the xylem and phloem cells will be present. Xylem cells should be mentioned with dark lines and phloem cells with the light lines. Xylem will transport. It can be mentioned like this. Draw 3 boxes. The innermost box should be somewhat dark region. Draw 3 boxes like this, one on the other. The innermost should be somewhat dark in region. It represents the xylem cells. And now a single layered cells of phloem can be mentioned over here. So this is the tiers of leaf. It can be drawn in a very easy method. First of all, you have to draw the epidermal cells, upper epidermis and lower epidermis, wavy pattern, 2 epidermal cells you have to draw. It should be covered with another wavy pattern known as cuticle. Later you have to mention the longitudinal cells like this. It should be covered with the chloroplasts. More number of chloroplasts should be present in palisade parenchyma, and less number of chloroplasts should be present in spongy parenchyma. And this is the easy way to draw the tiers of leaf. Here is the transverse section. Tiers means transverse section of leaf. A transverse section of a typical leaf shows that it is covered by epidermis on both the sides, upper epidermis and lower epidermis. It is covered by upper epidermis and lower epidermis on both surfaces. The upper epidermis and lower epidermis on the lower surface. Lower epidermis is interrupted by large openings. Here you can see very clearly there are some openings, and these openings are known as stomata. And this stomata is guarded by guard cells, and it is protected by the guard cells. And you know very clearly stomata is useful for the exchange of gases and loss of water vapor from the leaves. This tissue is enclosed between 2 epidermal layers called mesophyll cells, and these mesophyll cells consist of elongated cells. These are the elongated cells arranged in rows called the palisade parenchyma. This is the palisade parenchyma. It also has irregularly arranged cells with large intercellular spaces known as spongy parenchyma. There are so many air spaces in the spongy parenchyma. 2 types of parenchyma cells are present here. The upper one, palisade parenchyma, which doesn't have the intercellular spaces. But here, spongy parenchyma, it have a large number of intercellular spaces called air spaces. The mesophyll cells contain abundant chloroplasts. And here you can see very clearly there are certain dots present inside the parenchymal cells, and these cells represents the chloroplasts. There are numerous number of chloroplasts in the palisade parenchyma, but there are less chloroplasts in the spongy parenchyma. More palisade tissue occurs in leaves exposed to bright light than those exposed to shade. In the middle you can see the vascular bundles. Here you can see very clearly. You learnt about vascular tissues in your grade 9, xylem and phloem tissues. Xylem will conduct the water material and phloem will conduct the food material. Vascular bundles in the leaf are located in the midrib and the veins. In each vascular bundle of the leaf, phloem is located towards the lower side and xylem towards the upper side. Here you can see very clearly xylem and phloem vascular bundles. And here is the transverse section of the leaf, and by seeing this transverse section of leaf we can understand the structure of the chloroplast. It is present more in the palisade parenchyma but less in the spongy parenchyma, and it is covered by upper epidermis and lower epidermis. And this upper epidermis and lower epidermis in turn is covered with a waxy layer known as cuticle. This is known as the cuticle. Here you can see the cuticle, which is covered both in upper epidermis and lower epidermis. This cuticle will act as the protective layer. And here, these are the parts of the transverse section of the leaf. Cuticle, upper epidermis, the palisade parenchyma, the parenchyma which is present on the upper side, palisade parenchyma, then xylem, phloem, air spaces are present in the spongy parenchyma. Upper parenchyma, palisade parenchyma, lower one, spongy parenchyma. Here down you can see the stomata, then guard cells which is surrounded by the guard cells, and down also you have the cuticle. This is the easy way to understand, and it is an easy way to draw the diagram of TS of leaf. The second experiment, oxygen is produced during the process of photosynthesis. Later, we learnt the transverse section of the leaf, and I explained you how to draw this transverse section of the leaf in an easy method. And then in this session, we discussed about two important scientists, Pelletier and Caventa, Julius Bansax, and then Daniel Ornan also. Hope you understood the activities and the topics what we discussed today. For better understanding, go through your textbook and make it a habit to read the textbook every day. Thank you, children. We will meet again with another session.